Here we're asked to solve this quadratic equation by factoring. So the first step is to write this equation in standard form, and in this case it already is in standard form, and that just means that all the numbers are on one side and then it's set equal to 0. Now what we're going to do is factor this side, and what that means is we're just going to try to change that to a multiplication problem. The first step is to see if there is a number that is a greatest common factor. Is there a number that we can divide each of these terms by? The x squared, the 6x, and the 9. And there isn't a number that we can divide each of those terms by. There is a number that would work for x squared and 6x. We can divide those both by x, or 6x and 9, we can divide those both by 3, but there isn't a number that we can divide all 3 by. So now let's move on. And to factor a trinomial like this, set up two sets of parentheses. If it starts off with an x squared, we're just going to put x and x. And what goes inside the parentheses with those x's, we're looking for those two numbers that multiply to give us the last number. So multiply to give us a positive 9, and add to give us that middle number's coefficient. So add to give us 6. So you just go through the different options. So if I try 1 times 9, that gives me 9. But 1 plus 9 is 10. So it's not 1 and 9. Then you think, well, how about 2? Is there 2 times some number that's not a decimal that gives us 9? No. How about 3? 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3, yes, that's 6. So our two answers are a positive 3 and a positive 3. Now that we've done that, we have factored it. We can use what we have in the zero product property to come up with two equations. So the zero product property tells us if you multiply product numbers together and the answer is 0, then one or both of those numbers must be 0. So either this must be 0 or this is 0. Well, both of those say x plus 3 equals 0. We don't have to have that written down twice. That's just one equation in this case. So x plus 3 must equal 0. So now we're just going to solve that, and we see that x equals negative 3. So there's just one solution. If we were to graph this equation, this would be one of those that just has one x-intercept. It's just crossing the x-axis at negative 3. We can check our solution by graphing it, or we can always substitute your solution back into the original equation and see if it is a true statement. So that's our equation. Let's substitute negative 3 in and see if we have 0 as our answer. And in this case, 9 plus negative 18 plus 9 is equal to 0. So it did check out. So we know for sure that our answer is x is negative 3.